what made me decide to go ahead and drop out, which was a very, very tough decision, because honestly, I didn't know if I was making the right choice. I thought maybe I'm just overreacting. And yes, I need to be an architect. But no, like, I realized it's not even about the money. Like, I really do feel like I could cry if I wanted to, right? Welcome to Living in Truth podcast, episode 1, which is called College Life. So if you are tuned into today's video, if this is your very first time tuning in, thank you for joining. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you don't know me already, my name is Jasania. I am going into my senior year of college this fall, and I'm so excited. I am a psychology major, and I decided to really just tap more into my creativity and give you guys a podcast. So starting a podcast has been something that I've been wanting to do for a while now. I just didn't really know how to start or what to base my podcast on. So I finally got some assistance with that, and I'm so grateful. And I've decided to just share with you guys a even more in-depth understanding about my school experience and my work experience. So this podcast, College Life, is actually going to be more about my school experience. Depending on how this video does, once I see, how much you guys are actually like actively engaging with this video, then I will go ahead and like just give you more and more episodes, because I've already like been planning for like the future episodes. Once I see how this video does, then I will give you a part 2, and that'll just be a series about my work experience. So, living in truth. Well, what is that all about? So I'm going to tell you what that is about. That is actually me living in my truth. And with this podcast, my goal is to just be 100% authentic with you guys. That's how I am across my entire YouTube channel. And that's how I will forever be, and that's how I plan to be within this podcast as well. So I hope you enjoy this podcast, and I feel like this should definitely be relatable to those of you who are like around the same age as me, 21, or maybe even 22 or 23 or 20 years old. And if you are in the same position as me, which is being a college student who is just navigating through life and trying to figure herself out, and learning about what she likes and what she doesn't like, and just getting a feel of what the real world is like. So when I think about college life, I think about the time when I wasn't even a freshman. I was a senior in high school, and I just graduated high school that summer, and I was trying to figure out what it is exactly that I wanted to pursue a career in. I'm gonna tell you guys about myself. So I am very indecisive. I've always been very indecisive. It's something that I really cannot stand about myself, but I am, and I have to just learn to work with it, and I have to just learn to just come to a decision quickly. So that summer, I was just trying to figure it out what it is that I wanted to do. I used to say that I wanted to be an artist. Growing up, I always said I wanted to be an artist. And then I would say I wanted to be a fashion designer. It wasn't until like middle school and the beginning of high school where I realized that's not what I wanted to do, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I graduated high school that summer and I still didn't know what I wanted to do. So you know, I just would search on the internet different careers, trying to figure out which one best fits me. And I would take multiple career tests. I remember they would tell me I could be a flight attendant, maybe even a teacher. Now I knew teaching is something that I did not want to do. Well, I'm gonna backtrack a little further back. We're gonna go a little further back. And this was like maybe my junior year of high school when I was supposed to take an ACT because I was like preparing myself for college. It was either, okay, maybe the beginning of my junior year, somewhere in the middle, or like the beginning of my senior year, somewhere around that time, guys. I was like 17 years old, 16, 17. And I was supposed to go prepare to take this test. And I remember the security officer was telling me, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I remember telling him how I don't know. And to be honest, I've always had like a fear when it came to telling people that I did not know what exactly I wanted to be when I grew up, because I just felt like that's something that I should have already figured out. And I just felt embarrassed when people would ask me and I still was puzzled, like I don't know what it is that I want to be when I grow up. Then I told him I do not know what it is I want to be. I'm still deciding. I remember he told me, you look like you could be a psychologist. And I was so surprised to hear that, because I'm just like, huh? First of all, I didn't even know what that was. But once I heard that word, psychologist, it sounded very complex to me, like something very complicated, something very confusing, hard, difficult. Like all of that just popped in my mind. I'm just like, oh, okay. He was like, yes, you look like it. You know, you got the glasses, the hair. Yes, you look like you could be a psychologist. I'm just like, okay. So, you know, for the rest of the summer, I was still trying to figure out what it is I wanted to be, because I knew that that fall semester I wanted to attend college. Like, I was so determined and I was going to do it. Like I said, I'm going to start college this fall, even if I don't really know what it is I want to do. So it was really nerve-wracking, and then I kind of started just trying to pick something random. I was thinking maybe a graphic designer, because I knew I still like to be an artist and I wanted to tap into my creativity with drawing. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't even think that's what I want to do. Like, so I was really stuck on trying to figure out what it is I want to do. I just went ahead and I kept researching careers, trying to figure out what it is I wanted to do. And then I decided that I wanted to be an architect. Again, architect sounds very challenging, right? I remember I researched it and it sounded very, very tedious. Very, very tedious to me, but I was just like, oh my gosh, this seems so cool. Like, to help build a building, to be able to decorate the insides of a building, to be able to say this is my creation, I made this. Like, I was so excited, and I was like, yeah, I want to be an architect. Plus it includes drawing, so I was like, bet, like I want to do that because I can still draw and I have a passion for drawing. So I decided that's what I wanted to do. So that fall, I attended school with the help of my church. they were able to come up with the funds for me to attend school that fall. And I am so grateful for that even to this day. Like, the memory just pops up in my head from time to time, and I'm just so happy because, like, without their help, like, I wouldn't be here today attending school, where it's like, okay, I'm on track and I'm graduating when it is I'm supposed to graduate, which is next year, 2025, which that is still the plan, to be finished with school by next year, 2025. So I started architect courses that fall, and I just want to say that it was something very different to me, very, very different. It was interesting, you know, just learning about everything, being able to draw my own buildings, coming up with my own ideas. But it wasn't until when I was like halfway through that first semester, it was around midterms, I realized that this was not what I wanted to do. And I realized I was wasting a lot of time for those 6 months being in architecture when that's not what I wanted to do. So, honestly, what made me decide to go ahead and drop out, which was a very, very tough decision, because honestly, I didn't know if I was making the right choice. I thought maybe I'm just overreacting. And yes, I need to be an architect. But no, like, I realized it's not even about the money. Like, I don't care about the money. I spoke to the dean of the whole architect program at my school, and he basically told me, like, it's only gonna get harder, it's only gonna get more challenging, so you have to decide if this is something that you want to do. So I was like, wow, this is the realest conversation I ever heard. Like, this is the realest conversation I ever heard. And I realized, yes, I needed that talk with him, because from that point, I realized I'm dropping out. I gotta get out of this, because this is not what I want to do. Like, I'm going. I don't want to do this no more. So it wasn't even that. It was also the fact that I had to do a presentation, y'all. A presentation for that class. It was a Studio One class I was taking, and I had to do a presentation. And my professor told me, she's like, how do your ideas relate to one another? Like, you're supposed to take an idea from one thing and you're supposed to apply it to everything else. Y'all, I did not know that. Like, my ideas was just flowing all over the place. I was just coming up with whatever I thought made sense, and I tried my best. Like, I remember I was staying up till like 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, taking my precious time to get these assignments done. And honestly, it got to a certain point also where I realized I'm just forcing myself to do this when I didn't want to do this, because of the fact that I would stay up that late doing the assignments. Like, I was procrastinating a lot when I was taking those courses. Like, I had a lot of time in the day. I could have got it done sooner, and I would start the work around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, knowing it was due that same morning or later on that afternoon, it was actually later on that afternoon, because that's when I had the class, like around 1 o'clock. So yeah, guys, I dropped it. And I'm gonna tell you right now, ever since I dropped that class, I feel like life has gotten a bit easier for me. Because now I feel like I've been at a time now where, like, I can really just think thoroughly, like really just have a breather. I could take a breather. I feel more relaxed, more chilled when it comes to completing my assignments. Because when I was in architecture, like, I was beyond stress, and I don't miss that. I don't miss that amount of stress. Like, don't get me wrong, the workload is still pretty tough now, but it's a little more manageable than it was when I was taking architecture. I fell into a depression as well. Yes, I fell into a depression because now I really realized I didn't know what it is I wanted to be, what it is I wanted to do with the rest of my life when it came to having a job. Like, I was really confused. And I remember I would be in my dorm late at nights and I would cry myself to sleep. I would cry during the day. I would just be sad during the day, frustrated, anxious, so anxious with trying to understand what it is I'm supposed to do. I would definitely say my freshman year was such a hard time for me. I feel like it was the worst year that I went through, my worst college year of experiences. I was in a tunnel. I was in a black tunnel. I felt alone. I didn't know what to do. And I was just trying to see my way out the tunnel, you know, get to the other end, because deep down I knew that there is another end and I need to head towards the light. I don't need to be trapped in this dark tunnel for so long, but I just didn't know how to work my way through that tunnel. I decided to attend school undecided. And that was the best choice that I ever did. Like, honestly, it really was. And I remember, like, you know, being told over and over, like, well, just saying it's okay, you can go undecided, and then, you know, you could just take more time to really figure out what it is you want to do, what it is you want to go to school for, what you want to major in. And while you're at it, you need to make sure that you are praying to the Lord for guidance as you are in this time of need of searching what it is you need to major in. So I went undecided, and that gave me the chance to, you know, just focus more on my regular classes, you know, English, math, history. I got to just focus on the general classes, get those out the way. It wasn't until the end of my freshman year that I finally figured out what it is I wanted to do. So, at the end of my freshman year, I had a conversation with my friend, and she was telling me, she's like, why don't you look into psychology? I mean, that seems cool, that seems interesting. I think you can do that. You know, would you want to be a counselor? And, you know, I kept thinking about it. I'm like, it's interesting. You know, I was really tapping into the research, trying to figure out if this was for me or not. I was still really lost, y'all. I was lost, but I decided to, like, go ahead and go for it. So I decided to major in psychology, and honestly, I didn't know if that was really something that I was passionate about. Like, and honestly, I remember feeling more anxious for the fact that I even came to, like, my final decision, because, you know, for so long I was undecided and I didn't know what it is I want to do. But I realized from that moment that I was starting to, like, see my way out that tunnel. Like, I was halfway through that dark tunnel at that point. Like, I'm making my way to the light. I'm finding the light. Like, I was so proud of myself to like finally came up with a decision. And of course, like, I didn't really know what I was gonna get myself into, and I was, you know, afraid, but I just decided to just stick with it and go for it, and like just see if it was something I would want to do. So my sophomore year was the year I went in to becoming a psychology major, and I can't remember the first courses I took. I think I took an introduction to psychology class, and it was really cool. Like, I remember one class I had, I can't remember what it was called, but I remember like just reading the information off that PowerPoint, and I remember that professor telling us as a class, like, how psychology will teach you humility. And I was so happy to hear that psychology teaches you humility, and that is something you will learn for the rest of your life, because that's something that I want to consistently, you know, I want to consistently be humble for the rest of my life. Like, I don't feel like I'm no better than anybody. You know, I feel like we all have our own issues, and like, you know, we're all just trying to figure out solutions as we are going through this life. And like, you know, just sitting there learning about psychology, learning about your different moods, you know, why we behave the way we behave, the way the mind and behavior works. It is so amazing to me. Like, I love psychology. Like, I love psychology. And I remember I got to a point where I was nervous. It was like once I was near midterms, I was nervous because I thought I would drop the classes, because that's what I did the first time when I was taking architecture classes. So I was nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm playing myself. Like, I feel like I'm trying to force myself to think that this is what I want to do, but deep down it's not what I want to do. And I was so anxious, because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what happened to me last time. So I'm like, am I gonna get that same feeling again? I don't know. But once midterms came, you know, I took my midterms, I completed whatever assignments I had to complete, and I realized, oh my gosh, I still love psychology. No, I'm not gonna drop psychology. Like, I'm gonna keep taking these classes. And that's exactly what I did. Like, I thugged it out. Like, I kept going and I kept going and I kept going. Even though I'm a psychology major, I still didn't know exactly what type of job I would have wanted to do, because like I said, I am very indecisive. So that was something I was still trying to figure out. But I like the idea of helping others, and I decided that I wanted to be a counselor or a therapist. And then I finally narrowed my decision down to just being a counselor. But I learned that in order to be a counselor, you have to have a master's degree, which means I'll have to go back to do more school. but I realized I don't think that is something I want to do once I graduate from college and receive a bachelor's degree. Like, I don't feel like once I'm done with school, I want to go straight back to school. Like, that's not really what my mindset is telling me to do. Like, I feel like I should take a break. I've been trying to figure out, okay, what it is that I want to do with my bachelor's once I get the bachelor's next year, 2025, okay? Because we're almost there. I'm going to my senior year. I'm pretty much a senior now, so yeah. Anyway, I didn't really know still, trying to figure out what it is that I want to do with the bachelor's. So I thought, ooh, maybe I should be a social worker. Then I was like, I don't know. I don't know. So like, I believe that I want to work within the health side of psychology. So I think I want to like just focus on getting a job that's related to health psychology. Again, I think I want to just get a job that is related to health psychology, and I'm still trying to figure that part out. So like, I got more research to do to like really like figure it out. It's pretty much where I stand is today, May 27, 2024, and I am so proud of myself. Like, as I'm talking and I'm really like hearing myself, I really realize how far I've come, and this is amazing. Like, deep down I feel the emotions, and like I really do feel like I could cry if I wanted to, right? But I'm not going to, because the tears really haven't like came out just yet. So yeah, with that being said, this concludes my Living in Truth podcast, episode 1 of college life, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not already, and I hope this was interesting to watch, and I hope you guys leave me a lot of comments down below, because I will be reading them and I will reply to you. So do not be afraid to comment down below. Like, I'm here with y'all, you are here with me, so like, we're in this together. And if you comment for me, I would really appreciate that, because you guys are like, you know, just gonna give me more ideas, and you know, that's really gonna let me know if I need to like keep doing a podcast or not. I don't know if I said it already, but no, I don't have a mic just yet. But once I pay attention to these video analytics and I see if you guys enjoyed this, then I will decide if this is something I want to keep doing, and then possibly going ahead and purchasing a mic and like, you know, getting all that set up. So yeah guys, I love you guys, and I hope you have a good day today, and I'll see you in my next video.